In this video, we're going to be doing a multi-camera shoot with the Panasonic EVA1 and the Panasonic S1, and we're going to see if we can get the image to line up as close as possible in Premiere. Here's the story. So, why would you want to do a multi-camera shoot? Well, these days it's very common to have multiple cameras to record interviews or presenting segments. Right now I'm doing a presenting segment, and I'm a big fan of having the presenter talk straight to camera. You've got that eye line with the audience right now, but then the camera cuts to another angle, and all of a sudden you've lost that eye line that you already had with the viewer. It can be a little bit distracting, and instead of the audience listening to the story that you're telling or getting the information that you're trying to convey, they're all of a sudden distracted by this new camera angle. And sometimes I think shooting multiple camera angles can be more of a hindrance than helpful. However, from personal experience, I do find that having multiple cameras for interviews where the interviewee is talking off camera, it can work quite nicely. Having one shot being wide and another shot being close to help keep that momentum in the interview going. And then on top of that, you can then have B-roll to also illustrate the story that's being told. But what's your opinion? Let me know in the comments. Right now, we're filming with the Panasonic EVA1 and the Sigma 18-35 f1.8. You can see all the camera details here. And for our second camera, or B camera, we've got the Panasonic S1 with the Lumix S24-105 f4 lens. And you can see all the camera details on the screen right now as well. We've got a custom white balance for both cameras, and I've also used my X-Rite color checker as well, so I can use that in the editing process to line up the colors as well. I've also done a black balance in the EVA1, and this is a tip that I've picked up off one of the Facebook groups. Whenever you are starting a shoot, it's always advised to do a black balance right at the start. Turn your camera on, let the sensor warm up, or let the camera warm up, and then do that black balance, because that can affect the noise level in your blacks. I did my black balance when the sensor was at 32 degrees, and I was able to figure that out by going into the settings, and you can find that there. When doing a multi-camera shoot, ideally you're using the same camera with the same kind of zoom lens, or if you're not using a zoom lens, the same family of prime lenses, and you're not mixing and matching between different cameras, different brands, different lenses, different lens types, because every different camera has a different type of sensor which introduces different colors and different looks, and every different lens has different contrast and different colors as well. So really, if you're wanting your image to match up as close as possible, you'll have the same camera with the same lens and the same settings. However, today that's not an option. We've got two different types of cameras with two different types of lenses, but we do have ways of matching it together. Using the X-Rite color checker is one way to do it, and we've also tried to line things up as much as possible with the settings and also using the Vlog profile in both the EVA1 and the S1. So with all that said, let's jump into Premiere Pro and see if we can get this to line up as close as possible. Okay, so initially I was going to try and be fancy with the color checker and use the MBR Color Corrector 3 filter. But once I started trying to play around with it, I wasn't really getting the results that I was wanting. So I quickly abandoned that idea. So what I've done is we'll come back to the start of the video, and as you can see, we are in Vlog right now, and I will apply the nicest LUT on the EVA1 footage, and then I will apply it to the S1 footage. And as you can see, they don't line up exactly the same with the same LUT and shooting Vlog with custom white balances as well. So what you can do is then go to color wheels and match, click on comparison view, and then click apply match. And then what has happened is it's taken this frame and then analyzed it, and now applied the colors in this frame to try to make it match up more. And then that's what it looks like. So before, after, before, after, before, after. And then what you can do is, if you want to tweak the colors even more, take comparison view off. You can now see there to there. That's a better look at what we're seeing. And then if you want to change the look more, you can then make an adjustment layer. Okay. Put the adjustment layer in over the top of the footage. And then select the adjustment layer and change it to whatever you want. And then you'll have a consistent look over all your footage. So for example, if I want to make this more contrasty, bump up the exposure a little bit, bring down the vibrance, then go into my color wheels and add some blue to the shadows, add some orange to the midtones, and then add a vignette, a very hard vignette to make it look real cool. We've then got a consistent look across all our footage. Whether it's a good consistent look, I'll leave that up to you. So let's get rid of that and let's now do that again, but this time actually try. So what you might find is you just want to add just a little bit more contrast. You don't need to go extreme. A lot of the time when I'm color grading, you go extreme and then you dial it back. So it's good to know what the limits are on both sides and then try to find what looks nice to you. And also using your Lumetri scopes as well. So you can bring the blacks down a little bit so they're not touching like that, but maybe around there, and around there. And then you can bring the whites up if you want. I'll leave it around there. And then if you want to play around with the color temperature as well, if you want to cool it off, if you want to warm it up, you can do that as well. I'll leave it around. I'll probably just leave it at 0. And then you can change vibrance to make it pop a little more, break it. There you go. If you look at 100, if you look outside the window, you can see it's all purpley. It's completely broken. And just find that breaking point and then dial back, or just find that point where you think, yep, that looks good, and leave it at that. Bring down the saturation, bring up the saturation. And this is all really to personal taste. And then I could add maybe a slight vignette. And I'm pretty happy with that. And that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel for more videos on content creation in the future.